Welcome to the Shamanic Release Meditation. So over the course of this meditation, you will be checking in with your parts to see if it feels right to keep going or if it feels right to pause. So please honor the pace at which your unique parts want to go through this process and are ready to go through this process, even if that means pausing this meditation, okay? So you building trust with your parts by honoring if and when they'd like to stop and take a break is more important than you finishing this meditation. All right, so with that understood, go ahead and get yourself settled. What matters most here is that you are comfortable. So whether that is sitting up or laying down or whatever else kind of position that feels best for you, just get yourself to a place where you can feel good and you can be in that spot for a little while. And then once you're settled, take a moment to go inside. Transition into your inner world, slowly and deliberately, yet not trying to rush anything. Just inviting in more calmness as you do so. And once you're in your inner world, see if the protector part that is protecting a vulnerable part of you would like to come forward. So we can just double check if it's okay for you to work with a vulnerable part directly. So just take a second and really connect with this protector part. And notice how you are feeling toward them. If you're feeling anything other than curiosity, compassion, calm, or openness toward them, see if the parts making you feel otherwise would be willing to step back and give you some more space. And once you've gotten yourself to a place of openness toward this protector part, go ahead and ask if it is still willing to let you work with a more vulnerable part directly. And if the answer is no, go ahead and pause this meditation and revisit your pre-work. But if this protector part has given you explicit permission to continue, check and see if there are any other parts in there that are afraid of or don't want you to work with a vulnerable part more directly. So go ahead and check. And if there are other parts that aren't on board with you working with a vulnerable part more directly, go ahead and also pause this meditation and revisit your pre-work with these parts. Okay, but if all parts of you are willing to let you work with a vulnerable part more directly, then ask the first protector you checked in with to see if they can lead you to the vulnerable part they're protecting. So they might take you to a memory, a dream, or an image, or something else. So whatever happens, just let it be. Just see if they can take you to that vulnerable part. Once you can see or sense the vulnerable part in there, I'd like you to check to see if you are seeing through your own eyes in first person, or if you are viewing the scene of, you and your vulnerable part from above or the side. And so if you're not seeing through first person, like in the body of your essence, see if the part that's showing you the scene would be willing to let you back into your body so you can see through the eyes of your essence. And if this part isn't willing to do that, you can go ahead and pause the meditation and revisit the pre-work with this part. And even consider getting some outside support to help you with this process. Okay, but if this part is willing to let you into your body, you are seeing in first person, or you are sensing in first person, it's okay if there's no visuals. Now I'd like you to ask yourself how you are feeling toward the vulnerable part. So again, if you are feeling any sense of fear or frustration or anything other than the compassionate and curious qualities of your essence, ask the parts feeling those things to step back and see if they can trust you to handle this. And if they aren't willing to step back, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and pause the meditation and revisit the pre-work with these parts that won't step back. And this is also a great opportunity to ask any parts of you that really want to save this vulnerable part to step back, because this vulnerable part will be helped best if you are able to just be with them as they are right now. That's what they need most. So once you get yourself to a place of feeling open compassion for this vulnerable part and are able to just be with them as they are right now, check and see if the vulnerable part can see or sense you in there with them. And if they can't, just see if you can make your presence known to them. Now check and see what it's like for the vulnerable part to have you in there with them. How are they feeling having your presence there? And you can reassure them that whatever they are feeling is okay, that they don't have to feel any differently. And just take a second to be with this vulnerable part in whatever way feels right. So once you've established this connection with this vulnerable part, ask them what they'd like to show you about what it's like to be them. So they might show you memories or feelings. Let the eyes of your essence really witness what this part would like you to understand about their experience. That's great. Keep letting this vulnerable part show you what it's like to be them. And if it ever gets to feel like too much, that's a sign there's another part present. So if that's the case, you can always just pause this meditation and reconnect with your essence. And you can consider getting some outside support with this process. But if you're good staying with it, stay with it. Really let this vulnerable part show you what it was like to be them. You can let this part know that you are understanding this, that you're really getting it. And just continue to check with the part, asking, what else? What else would you like me to understand? And if there are emotions coming up, let them flow through, let them be expressed. Just keep asking this part, what else? It's important that this part feels like you really understand everything. So you can stay at this step until you hear from the part directly that it feels like you really understand. Okay, so I'm going to move on with the next part of this process, but if this vulnerable part really needs and wants to show you more things, please pause this meditation until the vulnerable part feels like this part is complete, like that you really understand what it's like to be them. Okay. Okay, so once this part feels like you really understand and they've shown you everything and you've met them in every emotion they are feeling, ask if there is anything this part would like you to do for them back then that they wish an adult would have done. So maybe it's setting a boundary with someone, or expressing anger, or physically shielding or protecting them, or, maybe this part just needs you to tell them everything that they needed to be told by a loving adult back then. So sometimes a redo feels right, but sometimes the vulnerable part feels complete after just being witnessed. So just give yourself some time to check in and see if there's anything this vulnerable part would like you to do for them back there. If you need more time with this part, you can go ahead and pause the meditation and come back when the redo feels complete. Once the part feels like you really understand what it's like to be them, and that you have redone what they requested, if anything, ask this part if it would like to come out of this place that they are in and into a safe place in the present moment with you. Now, there are lots of reasons why a vulnerable part would be hesitant to leave. So it's important not to force the vulnerable part to leave before it's ready. So if this part would like to stay where it is, let that be okay. So just stay connected with it in the way that feels right for as long as you want. You can also pause this meditation right here and consider getting outside support to help you through the rest of the process. But if your vulnerable part is ready to leave and come into the present moment with you, go ahead and set them up with that. So they could come into the present moment to be with you in the physical room you are in, or they can go to a safe place in your imagination. It can be anywhere in your imagination, it just has to be in the present moment. So once you're there, check in with this part to see how they are feeling now. Now that they're out of that place and with you in this safe place, really just allow yourself to slow down and connect with them in whatever way feels right. then you can ask them to identify where their pain is in or around their body. So it might be a general sensation or it might be a specific object. So just see if this part can identify where their burdens or where their pain, where that energy is located. And then ask this part if it would like to release all those painful beliefs and emotional burdens and all that icky energy. And sometimes parts are only willing to let go of some of the pain, so let that be okay. Sometimes they're not willing to let go of any of it yet. Sometimes they're ready to let it all go. So just let their willingness level be whatever it is. And if this part would like to release its burdens or release some of its burdens, ask this part what element they would like to give their burdens to. So water, air, earth, fire, light, or anything else. So whatever they choose, see if you can set that up for them, where this part can give their burdens up to this element, and this element can take it away. So you or your part don't need to know how to let go of it. They just need to have a willingness to let go, and it will just start to happen. So really take your time with this step, letting the process of releasing the burdens take as long as it takes. You can go ahead and start that process now. If you still need more time with the releasing process, you can go ahead and pause this meditation and complete that releasing process, and then come back when that feels complete. So once the part has released all of their burdens, take another second or two to really connect with this part and see how they feel after releasing all that. And now it's time for this part to welcome back in all of their natural qualities, all of their natural power. This might be qualities like play or joy, confidence, calm, anything else. It might also just be a sense of their power and essence returning. So however you'd like to imagine that happening, just let this part be filled up with all of its power again. And let this process take as long as it takes as well. If you need more time with this part, you can go ahead and pause the meditation and then come back when it feels complete. So once this part is full of its own power again, take another moment to really connect with it and see how this part of you feels now. Just be with it in whatever way feels right. Now see if it feels right to bring in the protector part into this safe space so that the protector part can check this out. See what this protector part thinks about what just happened here. So once the protector part is present, ask it if it was watching this play out, and ask it what it thinks about seeing this vulnerable part safe and full of their power again. And is there any energy this protector part would like to let go of? Sometimes there is and sometimes there isn't, so just let whatever the protector part says be okay. And if they are ready to let go of some of their burdens too, they can go ahead and give it to the element of their choice. And then also, when that's complete, to bring in more of their natural qualities and essence in. If you need more time with this step, you can go ahead and pause the meditation and come back when it feels complete. But when it does feel complete, ask the vulnerable part if there is anything else it needs from you. Would it like you to check in with it every now and then? Anything else that it would like you to set it up with? Now just take this time to say whatever else needs to be said in there, to thank your parts, to connect with them for however long it feels right to. Really just take your time to say or do anything you need in order for this process to feel complete. And then whenever you are ready, slowly begin your transition from the inner world back into the outside, ordinary world. You can start wiggling your fingers and toes. Start moving or stretching your body in any way that feels good. Taking a deep breath. And then as it feels right to you, you can begin to open your eyes. So I highly recommend you get a pen and paper, maybe a journal, and write down everything you remember about this experience. A big part of the healing process is making your implicit experience in the inner world explicit in the outer world, and writing it out is a great way to do that. It really kind of locks it in for us. So great work today. Give yourself lots of rest, lots of nourishment, lots of time to integrate. Go slow and gentle with the rest of your day. So much love to you and your parts.